So picture this, it's 2025, you're planning a flight. Suddenly the skies get a lot more complicated. India decided to close its airspace. This wasn't for everyone though, it was specifically for Pakistani flights. This big decision went into effect until May 23, 2025. Imagine a giant no-entry sign in the sky. That's basically what happened. This move didn't come out of nowhere. There's always a story, right? And this one is quite serious. The main reason for this drastic step? A terrible event. It was a terror attack in Pahalgam. This happened in Indian-administered Kashmir. The date was April 23, 2025. Sadly, 26 people lost their lives. India was, understandably, very upset. They pointed fingers. They blamed terrorists backed by Pakistan. This kind of accusation, as you can imagine, really heats things up. It's like throwing fuel on an already smoldering fire. India didn't just talk, they took action. On May 7, 2025, they launched military strikes. They said they hit 9 terrorist infrastructure sites. Some of these targets were deep inside Pakistan. Now that's a bold move. It's like your neighbor accusing you of something and then coming over to fix it themselves. Tensions went from high to through the roof. This made the situation even more dangerous for everyone involved in the region. Of course, Pakistan had its own version of events. They claimed their military was also busy. They said they shot down 5 Indian fighter jets. This was in response to India's strikes, they reported. Before India's big announcement, Pakistan had already closed its airspace. That was on April 24, 2025, specifically for Indian Airlines. So, it was a bit of a tit for tat. One closes airspace, the other responds. It's a dangerous game of aerial chess. Now let's talk about Air India. They were in a tough spot. Imagine you run an airline, and suddenly your main routes are blocked. Many of their long-haul flights were affected, especially the ones going to North America and Canada. These flights usually crossed Pakistani airspace. Now they had to find a new way. It's like your usual road to work is closed. You have to take the scenic, much longer route. This caused a lot of headaches. So what did they do? They had to get creative with their flight paths. Flights were rerouted, going southward. They flew over the Arabian Sea. This detour meant planes needed more fuel, so they had to make additional stops. Think of it as a long road trip, needing extra gas station visits. For example, some flights had to stop in Vienna, Austria. This wasn't part of the original plan, obviously. It added time and complexity. Let's look at how much longer flights became. The Delhi to Chicago O'Hare route is a good example. Normally it would take about 14 hours. With the airspace closure, it stretched to over 19 hours. That's an extra 5 hours in a plane. Can you imagine? That's a whole extra movie or two, or maybe just more time to wish you were already there. This was a significant increase for passengers. This whole situation was costly for Air India. Estimates suggested it could cost an extra $600 million annually. That's if the ban lasted a whole year. That's a lot of money. To manage these super long flights, rules had to be adjusted. India's aviation regulator allowed temporary changes. Pilots could have extended duty hours. Their rest periods were also adjusted. Air India is also getting new planes like Airbus A350s to help manage. It wasn't just Air India feeling the pinch. Oh no, this was a global party, and nobody wanted to be there. Many international airlines were affected. Big names like Lufthansa from Germany, British Airways from the UK, and Singapore Airlines, a major Asian carrier. They all had to change their flight plans. Their usual routes often passed over Pakistan or India, so they were scrambling for alternatives. It was a logistical puzzle for many. These global airlines also had to reroute their flights. Some chose to fly via Iran or Central Asia. Others took paths over the Arabian Sea, similar to Air India. These detours added extra time to their journeys. We're talking anywhere from 30 minutes to over 2 hours. It might not sound like much for one flight, but multiply that by dozens of flights every day. It adds up quickly. British Airways even canceled a flight from Islamabad to London. Think about the passengers. Their travel plans got messy. Longer journeys were just the start. Some people missed their connecting flights. Imagine landing late and watching your next plane take off. That's a travel nightmare. Airlines had to issue travel advisories. They offered rebooking options, but it was still a huge inconvenience. Customer service lines must have been very busy during this period. The disruption was widespread. Indigo, another Indian airline, had to cancel direct flights. Their routes to Tashkent in Uzbekistan and Almaty in Kazakhstan were affected. They stopped these for at least 10 days. Several airports in northern India were also shut down for periods. This caused even more chaos for travelers. It showed how one conflict can send ripples across the entire air travel network, affecting thousands. The problems went beyond just longer flights. There were serious operational challenges for airlines. Crew rotations were massively disrupted. You planned for a pilot to fly X hours. Now they fly X plus Y hours. This throws schedules into disarray. These delays had a cascading effect. One late flight could make several other connecting flights late. It's like a line of dominoes falling. On-time performance for airlines took a big hit. And let's not forget the environment. This is a big one. Longer flight durations mean planes burn more fuel, a lot more fuel. More fuel burned means higher carbon emissions. This is not good news for our planet. Airlines have targets to reduce their environmental impact. Things like ICAO's Corsia program aim for cleaner skies. These airspace closures make hitting those targets much harder. It's a step backward for green aviation. There's an economic impact too on different levels. Pakistan, for instance, earns money from overflight fees. Airlines pay to use another country's airspace. With fewer planes flying over, Pakistan's earnings from these fees likely dropped. For the airlines, the increased fuel consumption meant higher operational costs. Add to that the costs of passenger reaccommodation and schedule disruptions. It all adds up to significant financial strain. This whole episode highlights something important. The global air traffic system is incredibly interconnected. It's also very susceptible to geopolitical developments. A problem in one region can have immediate and far-reaching impacts. It affects operational efficiency, it costs a lot of money, and it's bad for the environment. This wasn't the first time either. Back in 2019, Pakistani airspace was closed for nearly 5 months. It shows how regional stability is key for smooth global travel.